One of the most common questions that I get here on my channel is, do I think it would be better for you to rent as opposed to own here in 2025? So I thought we would do a clear breakdown of ownership versus renting so that you can plug in what you're looking for and very easily determine if it would be better for you to rent instead of own. Now listen, if you're new to the channel, let me introduce myself. My name is Barrett Pastor, and I've been a real estate broker for over 27 years. So hopefully I'm coming to you from a place of knowledge and experience, and I can help you navigate all things Florida real estate. If you want to do a deep dive into your personal information, we can break down exactly what you're looking for and what would work best for you. I will leave a link right here and down below in the description box, and just grab some time on my calendar and we'll do a deep dive into your particular situation. All right, so let's dive into this, and hopefully this will be helpful for you. Now you're gonna see I'm looking down because I've got a bunch of numbers here that I wanna give you. You might need pen and paper. All right, so we're gonna use $650,000 as the cost of the home or the villa that you would be buying. We're going to use $650,000. We're also going to utilize 20% down, because a lot of people, when they're getting a mortgage, that's what they're going to put down. So $650,000, $130,000 down, and we're going to use an interest rate. Let's see what they're running today. We will use an interest rate of 6.5%. That's about what the 30-year fixed is running. All right, we're going to use a house that is $650,000. In Naples, that's way, way below the median. In Sarasota, that is below the median, depending on where. There are some spots that you can get this number lower. So if you find something lower, like for example here lately, we've been doing great things with villas and single family homes under $400,000 in the Venice Welland Park area. So if we can find you something you like that's lower, then definitely these numbers are going to come down, but we're going to use $650,000 because that tends to be the average, sort of the bread and butter price point that we're seeing here lately. All right, so at that number, $650,000, 20% down, $130,000, 6.5% interest. We're going to add in, that's $2,800, by the way. We're going to add in $400 a month for property taxes. We're going to add in about $300 a month for insurance. And then we're going to throw in HOA fees of $250 a month, because I'm going to make the assumption that you want something. Maybe you want the gate, you want to be lock and leave. You want to have pickleball, community pool. You don't care about a golf course or anything like that, but you want your community to be well maintained. So we're going to put $250 on that. Then we're going to use, normally I would tell you to use about 1% per year for maintenance on a home. So that would be $6,500. I'm going to knock that down to in half. I'm going to make the assumption that you bought something newer and you're not going to have a ton of maintenance. So let's bring that in. And then let's add in capital improvement at $150 a month. What do I mean by capital improvement? Let's just say you add some landscaping. Let's say, I don't know, you do some things, you do some decor, whatever it is, you improve the home in some kind of way, and I'm going to put that at $150 a month just to plug something in. Landscaping and pool care, let's put that in at $150 per month. So you can find a pool company that will maintain your pool, usually for $75 to $100 a month. It's pretty easy to find those. They'll access the pool from your lanai. There's always a door there, and they can just come right in, check water levels, maintain the pool, clean it, do all the things, make sure everything's fine. Most communities that have some amenities, because remember, we added in an HOA, most of them will have your grass cut, but a lot of times what they will not do is trim your palm trees, maintain, your little bushes that you plant, things like that. A lot of times you have to do that on your own. So you want to have something built in there in case you want to hire somebody to do that. I would never suggest you cut palm leaves yourself. They're heavy, they're painful, they will tear you up. Trust me. My husband tried it, it did not work. And then lastly, let's add in $50 per month for exterior pest control. $50 per month should get you about to the right number for the year. You definitely want pest control. There's all kinds of bugs and you want to spray for every single one of them. I always say, like, I personally, still to this day in Florida, am like an episode of When Beaches Attack. I get bit by everything. Personally, I don't even walk through the grass. I never do. When I show property, like out in Golden Gate, people want to walk property. No, not doing it. All right, so what does that add up to? According to my calculator, that's $4,425 per month, which would be a little over $53,000 per year. So what can we back out in a rental? That's the question. So the first thing we need to do is find out, on a $650,000 house, what could we rent that for? All right, so we need to determine what can we rent this same $650,000 3-bedroom, 2-bath pool home, because we're maintaining a pool. What can we rent that home for? So usually we would say you can rent that at about 1 to 1.5% of the purchase price. So if we use 1 to 1.5%, we are somewhere between $650,000 and what would 1.5% be? So somewhere between $6,500 a month and $9,750 would be what we can rent that for. So let's say $9,750 is during season, and let's just say off season is going to be half that, and then we have some vacancies. So let's use, if we take all that, the good with the bad, let's just make a guess and say the market isn't great right now. We can rent it for $6,500. We'll go in on the low end and we'll say that's $6,500 a month. So that's $78,000 per year. So theoretically, you might say in first analysis, $78,000 from $53,100, obviously, it would be better for you to purchase cost-wise instead of rent. But wait a second. So, does that surprise you? Does that surprise you? Depending on the market, depending on the amount you're willing to pay, depending on the amount of months that you're going to live in the property on an annual, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Now, you might say, yeah, but Barrett, I put $130,000 down. Yes, you did. But you also have the theoretical equity. So really, that I'm doing this, I'm going through this with you because there's a lot of people that feel like, oh, it's a no-brainer. You should rent. Not always. Not always. It does not always make sense. So somewhere where they're pulling high rents, and we're even on the low end, we're at the lowest end at $6,500. If you were renting something at $6,500 a month on an annual, then it does not make sense for you. If you're seasonal, if you're somebody that shows up January, February, March, then for you, it probably makes a whole lot better sense for you to rent because you don't have to worry about all those other costs that we just went through. You show up with your bag, you play pickleball, you go swimming, and you lock and leave. You're out the door and somebody else deals with it. Much, much smarter in many cases in this price range, in this scenario we're putting together for you to rent if you're only going to be seasonal. Now, let me throw you a little bit of a zigzag. If you're somebody that wants to have somewhere where, like, I want to call it my own, I want to have all my summer things and my pink flamingo tops, and I want my skirts, there in Florida. If that's you, then let's focus on something that's a really good buy. Let's find you one of those that's under $400,000. Well, you might say, well, what is that though? I don't know if I really even want that. That might be a 2-bedroom and a den, 2-bath, 2-car garage villa. We're seeing them all the time in Venice and Welland Park. people are getting insanely good deals. Under $400,000, that was unheard of. There's even new construction at $300,000 if you're willing to do a townhome, something like that. So right now, there's opportunity for really, really good buys. And if you're going to hold on to something, it could really be a cash flow for you into the future. I have not been able to talk about buying for the purpose of cash flow for the longest time. And lately here, there are some places, not everywhere, listen, not everywhere, but there are some spots where you can do really, really well. So I would say that we have absolutely, in summary here, discovered that renting is not always the best plan. Depending on what you're wanting to do, it might be better for you to rent, but if you're open to something that's newer, that's comfortable in a great area, maybe 1,600 square feet, something like that. Like I said, 2 bedrooms and a den, 2 bath, newer, new construction, maybe throw in a golf cart, maybe throw in some closing costs. Listen, they're out there and the numbers will look much, much better than this. Let me know down in comments if you want me to do a breakdown for you on something like that.